Can we rebuild Yokulhops to utilize the new battle card type, which won't be destroyed when it resolves? Let's find out. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another legacy video, and today a challenge was thrown down by Josh, who wanted me to rebuild Yokulhops. Yokulhops? Argue down in the comments below. Google says it can go both ways. To utilize the new battle card type. So let's start by looking at a sample battle. A battle card looks something like this, and you'll notice that each one of these has a number in the corner. When they are dealt that much damage by something like combat or otherwise, they're going to transform into another side. So all of your battles do something when they enter play, and if you go and defeat them, then you get the backside. And let's take a look at what the payoff might be. Your payoff is a second card, oftentimes a creature. And fundamentally, we're going to run into a problem with the Yokulhops deck and battles. And that problem is that while the battles will stick around after a Yokulhops, the creatures that they transform into won't. And guess what? We're not going to be playing creatures in the first place. We're primarily going to be looking to win the game with planeswalkers that stick around after a battle. And in fact, our whole deck is going to be built around protecting planeswalkers like Chandra, Karn the Great Creator, the other Chandra Heart of Fire, because we're going to try to hide behind various prison pieces. One of the primary things that we want to do in this deck is turtle up behind an ensnaring bridge and keep activating our planeswalkers. Well, if we're trying to have creatures to attack battles, that works against ensnaring bridge, which is supposed to be protecting our planeswalkers, and you kind of see the tension here? So I started going down this other route of, well, what if we do direct damage to the battles to flip them rather than trying to attack them with things like Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning has this really unique interaction with battles where you can target a battle, you are the controller of that permanent, despite the fact that your opponent is defending it, so you can pay the 2 to immediately copy that again and flip your battle. But guess what? If you start going down this, I want to play 1-drop things to flip these battles, then you are again running into this tension with the lock pieces that you are trying to play. So at the end of that brewing session, where did that leave me? And I don't usually end up at this place, but my conclusion was, it doesn't work. You can't play battles with Yokulhops and reasonably expect to do well. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please click that like. No, we're not going to stop the video there, but we are going to do a traditional Yokulhops approach rather than trying out the battles. And that's unfortunate, but not every idea is going to work. And that's something we should have seen on this channel from many of the, 0-4, 0-5 failures that I've had as we tried out crazy brews. But this time, before I even got into the league, I sat there, I tried, I spent a couple hours sketching up deck lists, and it just conceptually wasn't going to work. So we're going to update what I did play before. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, and then we'll jump into some matches. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to say that today's video is sponsored both by cardsphere.com and moxfield.com, and we'll take a look at them a little bit later on. The core of this deck is the same as I played it the last time around, and I didn't change any of the cards in the main deck. Everything that we had in the main deck really seemed to fire on all cylinders, and even though the deck might not be the most powerful thing in the world, I was happy with the way that I had built it. Fury as a way to clear out opposing creatures while also decreasing my hand size for Ensnaring Bridge worked out really well last time. However, last time around we learned that the initiative was going to be a problem. So I went a little deep here in the Karn tutor board, and I'm going to play Sarevok's Tome, which when it enters the battlefield, we get to take the initiative. And this is a wish targetable way to take the initiative. Trailblazer's Torch would do similar things. But this has a nice ability where for 3 mana, I can exile cards from the top of my library until I exile a non-land card, and I can cast that card without paying its mana cost if I've completed a dungeon. So that part's unlikely, but it is a thing that can happen if we end up in a super grindy Ensnaring Bridge-based game. Alright, let's go ahead and hop into the battles here. I know this one is a fan favorite. Let's see how we do. Let's battle. It's funny, because never mind. All right, we're all in. So this is a decently powerful hand, but holy moly, I'm so dead to a Force of Will on this Karn. We imprint Shatter Skull Smashing, Ancient Tomb, Spirit Guide puts us up to 4 mana for a Karn. Poetic. So poetic. Yeah, we got nothing going, folks. We have powerful things that we can draw, but I'm gonna have to get a little bit lucky to get back into this game. That's actually not the end of the world here. Like, I have extra lands, and I am looking for time here. I'm not gonna jam City of Traders early. I would like to hold this card for as long as possible. Oh man, Ensnaring Bridge is so good against Death Shadow. I am just being punished at every opportunity. I fully believe that it is correct to not play Ensnaring Bridge off City of Traders last turn, by the way. Just absolutely, fully, just 100% sure that that is not the line that I want to take here. I do not want to lose that City of Traders. And just like that, we have bought an exceptional amount of time. All right. Would you like to wasteland me? I don't know that that's correct for you. I have way more mana sources in my deck than you do. All right. We're here for a long time. Not a good time for my opponent. Okay, they do have more land still. Noble Spirit Guide. Get in there. Note that attacking is a little weird. Attacking will turn on a Death Shadow, but I'm still probably supposed to play the Spirit Guide there. Okay, yep. There's a Wasteland. My opponent has had so much mana, despite the fact that they have not cantripped this game. That is their 5th land this game that they have naturally drawn. I'll just chill here. If I attack, I literally just take more damage on the crackback, right? That Shadow now gets to attack. I'm just going to take the hit this turn. I want to save the Spirit Guide to potentially block for a Planeswalker. A mid-combat Brainstorm so that my opponent can fetch with their Delta and deal me a little bit more damage this turn. That means the shields are down for whatever I draw on my own turn, though. Alright, they're at 8, meaning that I take 5. I am at 13. This will shut off Wasteland. And I make another land drop, which is not what I'm looking for. Do I attack? I think no. There is some degree of question about when I block with Spirit Guide. If my opponent has Dress Down, I will die this turn if I do not block. I think I'm willing to just take that risk, though. It's worth more life later on. Classic. Classic. Alright. Shatter Skull Smashing. Wouldn't have been enough to kill that creature. Yeah, we were flooding out on top. We're quite a few turns away from an effective win. Alright, what do I have for this matchup? Probably not much. Like, I'm probably just going to resubmit the exact same list that I played in game 1. Since the Karn tutor board takes up so many of my slots in the sideboard, unless I'm boarding in Graveyard Hate or one of these sweepers for small creatures, most of the time I'm probably not sideboarding. I could bring in an extra Trinisphere if I want to make it easier to resolve my stuff. Blood Sun versus Trinisphere is a thing. I can very much consider changing that slot. Blood Sun still just protects from Wasteland, though, which I do like in this matchup. Trinisphere really messes with my opponent's mana efficiency. I'm going to go up a Trinisphere on the play, and I'm going to play a Blood Sun on the draw if we do go to a game 3. This hand is perfectly fine. It's a little bad versus Wasteland, but hopefully Blood Sun stops that from actually being a problem. I will have a relatively difficult set of choices on turn 2, unless I get Thought Seized and my opponent just makes the choice for me. Blood Sun, Trinisphere, and Ensnaring Bridge are all reasonable takes depending on what the texture of my opponent's hand looks like. Alright, they are going for the Trinisphere, which is probably the best generic card in the hand. I think tempo matters a lot here. I am just going to jam the Blood Sun into a Daze. If this gets countered, it's not like the end of the world. Yep. Pitching a Murktide Regent, though. Yeah, I just think that soft counters like Daze are probably going to be good against me all game. I don't mind baiting them out now. Yep, and like this is one of the reasons why I want to try to do that on curve. Ooh. Do you have another counter spell? Because this is pretty good if you don't. Nice. Game's not over. Like, we can't get too excited here. Cards like Murktide Regent definitely still do exist that get around Chalice of the Void, but this does shut off a massive portion of my opponent's deck. All right, the land enters tapped. That's great for me. So we're chilling. All right, there's a land drop. Feels like a Gurmag or a Murktide. It is a Murktide. Outside of range of Fury. This is fine, so we will go ahead and Chrome Mox. I'll imprint the Fury, and I'll attempt Ensnaring Bridge. My opponent could still have a way to answer this, or a Brazen Borrower to bounce it out of play. But given the resources that I'm at and the amount of pressure that I'm under, I've just got to go for the Ensnaring Bridge immediately. And I expect at this point that this game slows down a bunch, unless my opponent just has a Brazen Borrower right here. They do not. Let's continue the game on my terms then. This is great. Very nice. We got an end of turn play. Urkel's Recall. F. That's worse than a Brazen Borrower bounce. So if they were willing to Hercules, that probably means that they have a counterspell now for taking out the Ensnaring Bridge again. But I could be wrong. They are fishing pretty hard right now. Alright, there's a fetch to clear the Brainstorm. Nope. More Brainstorm. If I lose a third of my life total here, is not great. I'm on a 2-turn clock. I'm dead to a counterspell. The Yokel goes under this. I do not believe that I can wait a turn to cast this Trinisphere here. If my opponent has a Force of Will or whatever, they just hold up 3 mana and I lose for this being countered. So we just have to jam this and hope it works. Yep, nope, that's fine. At least have a chance to top deck another one next turn now. That's about my only out here. Ooh, they're also willing to shock, meaning that they might be able to just play a small Death Shadow that could get in under my potential Ensnaring Bridge for a little while. Yes, and that is correct. I'm down to 6. Life's bad. Fury does not get me anywhere. It's not enough damage to kill Murktide. I will concede. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. It's just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and it's also a great tool if you're a competitive tournament player. What I'm showcasing here is its compare feature. You can take 2 deck lists, plug in links to both of them, and then see which cards are unique to deck list A, which cards are unique to deck list B, and which cards are shared with both of them. And you can do this both with the main deck and the sideboard. If you are looking to fine-tune a deck list, this is a great way to do that. I have a weird opening hand here. I have a turn 2 Blood Sun. I have a Fury with a card to pitch for fair creature decks, and I'm not going to get Wastelanded out of this game. Treating the Blood Sun as a redraw, I think I'm going to keep this one rather than mulliganing. I have a lot of expensive cards in my deck, like a lot of 3-drops, and I think I just have enough good draws, especially if Blood Sun resolves and I do get to cantrip with it, that this hand is just perfectly reasonable. Alright, my opponent has said good luck, have fun in chat, and then revealed Chancellor of the NX. Not the greatest for me. Part of me is considering pitch casting a Fury to put a creature into my graveyard so that Exhume gets worse, but then like my opponent could just like 1 mana reanimate my Fury, so that's probably just me getting too lost in the sauce of being cute. Of course, I will do this, and then my opponent will Exhume on turn 1. Oh. That's not where I thought this was going. We are playing against a white initiative deck instead of a reanimator deck. Sure. That's fine. Not sure that I even cast Fury yet. This makes it a little awkward. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play a basic mountain and pass here and try to get more value with the Fury. I will take 2 from Thalia. That's perfectly fine. Okay. Now that's fine. I'm trying to figure out my life right now. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to cast a card this turn or just like play a Fury. think I'm just going to play a Fury this turn. All right, so this is a little weird. We're going to pitch cast a Fury, pitching a Blood Sun here. And then that's going to get countered unless we pay 1, which I will. It is evoked, but Hushbringer kind of stops that from happening. And then we can do cool things with Shatter Skull Smashing a little bit later on. My opponent's probably like a Dreadnought deck, a Phyrexian Dreadnought deck. Okay, that's fine. I will eat 3 points of damage here. For 6 mana, I can kill both of those, right? Red, Thali attacks, 3 total mana. Yeah, for 6 mana, if I play City of Traders, I can just Shatter Skull Smashing and kill all of that. That's fine. Alright, good stuff. We did this while Karakas was tapped for additional upside. And my opponent still has 5 cards in hand. Like, this game is not over, but I have done a lot in undoing their early turns. Adeline is a clock. Go ahead and take a redraw here. A Chalice of the Void is not particularly strong. I am going to cast this card. I'm just thinking about whether or not it's going on 1 or 2. 2 probably stops more creatures, but taking the 2 damage is super relevant right now. I still think I'm going to put it on 2 anyway. That stops like a future Hushbringer from coming into play. Hushbringer. Ugh. So Adeline attacks. My opponent then gets a 1/1 creature, and that kind of buffs the clock by 2 turns. Or sorry, buffs the total power by 2. And Vile. Alright. The good news is I don't lose City of Traders. The bad news is everything about Adeline. This is gonna hurt. Also protectable via Karakas if my opponent leaves that up. Ensnaring Bridge looking pretty good. I can empty my hand. Like, I can play a Chrome Mox on nothing. Like, that is a thing that you are allowed to do. That is an Ensnaring Bridge. If I do this, 4 for Karn, 3 for Ensnaring Bridge. I'm going to take a quick check to make sure I don't have any better options. I do not. There is Karn. Vile and Chrome Mox are both off now. Yes. Ensnaring Bridge. Take 2 for Ensnaring Bridge. And Chrome Mox with no card to imprint. We have successfully turtled up. Next turn, I minus Karn again, get a Mycosynth Lattice, and my opponent cannot cast spells anymore. Meaning that I do get a win. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I can't actually Lattice this turn, huh? Or no, I just have to use the Spirit Guide for mana. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, grab Lattice. 1, 2, 3 with Spirit Guide. 4, 5, 6 off the mountains. And our opponent is locked out from casting spells. So this game's over. I'm going to cut to my opponent eventually conceding when they figure out what's up. Okay, my opponent made me play it out until turn 11, at which point I had 3 Planeswalkers at a gajillion loyalty, and they finally gave up. Okay, for this matchup, I'm going to go ahead and board in some additional cards that are just going to sweep my opponent's threats. I don't really need Chalice of the Void and Trinisphere in this matchup, but I'm certainly not going to be able to get rid of all of those. I'll go ahead and board in an extra land. I have 2 Trinispheres beyond that. Sorcerer's Spyglass can just naturally come in. I think I still want to be able to wish for this, so I'm going to have to play 1 Chalice or 1 Trinisphere to round things out. I think a Chalice on 2 is potentially more valuable than 1 Trinisphere. This hand is not ideal. I still think that I am willing to keep it. Ensnaring Bridge is very powerful in this matchup, and I can get one down relatively early. I'm a little unsure whether or not I will play Blood Sun or whether Blood Sun will just go under Chrome Mox. A lot of that depends on what I draw next. I also don't necessarily want to cantrip with Blood Sun, so like that's a thing as well. Planes, sure. Thalia got imprinted. Other Thalia is in play. Given that, I'm probably going to play a Bloods. I don't need the mana of that right now. I'm going to go ahead and cast the Chrome Mox. And this is actually a surprisingly close decision, like which one of these I do. I think I'm going to imprint the Spirit Guide. I think since I have this City of Traders here, I would like to play it and then cast a 4-mana Blood Sun next turn, and then start setting up for Ensnaring Bridge slightly after that. 2 damage from Thalia is not a big deal. Oshbringer is totally fine as of right now, although it could become less fine in the future. See what we get off the redraw here. Fury. That's almost a good card. Like, I will just play that out as something to get in the way of the Thalia. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. My opponent's actually probably going to have a really hard time answering an Ensnaring Bridge, right? Like, they're not going to have things like Skyclave. Yeah, this is fine. Oh. Yeah, this is good. It's going to cost 5 mana to do. I'm going to go ahead and cast this. We're going to deal 2 damage to each creature and destroy target artifact. I'm going to choose Chrome Mox there. And we are going to destroy 4 of my opponent's permanents with 1 card in just absolutely savage fashion. Yeah, I might not even play Ensnaring Bridge this game. I straight up might just cast a Fury and start going on the offensive depending on what they do. Vial is A-okay with me. Yeah, I am the beatdown. Will not be destroying anything with Fury. Vial can tick up. But like my opponent's on 2 cards, they're down a lot on mana, they're down a ton on other resources. That is not going to be super relevant this game. Oh, yeah, that's real good too. I'm going to go ahead and attack for 6. Put my opponent to 15. I think going this Karn route is good. It stops Vial from being relevant. And then I just get to go ahead and minus this, say yes, grab Liquid Metal Coating, ask that, go to my opponent's turn. We'll go ahead and turn their planes into an artifact land for this turn so that it does not actually tap for mana. And yeah, this should basically be the end of this game. That's disgusting as well. Let's start blowing up some lands. Junk Plains. I will take my attack in for 6 points of damage, bringing my opponent to 9. Go ahead and play a Planeswalker here. We'll just plus for mana and take 2 points of damage to just go ahead and put lethal damage in play via combat. Hello and good luck. All right, yeah, we have gotten the GG here. All right, and we brought ourselves back to 1-1. Have you enjoyed watching me bully people with Fairy Mastermind over the last couple of videos? Well, consider getting your own copy. It seems it's pretty popular over on cardsphere.com, a fantastic way to trade cards peer-to-peer, and they've got some other services as well, and they've even got some written content. Please consider checking them out. They do have some other functionality like being able to sell cards directly to them as well. All right, back to the show. All right, let's see. I have a relatively fast Karn with this hand. On turn 1, if I want, I'm going to keep the hand. Gemstone Caverns. I'm playing against something unfair. I think I go ahead and just attempt turn 1 Karn. Pitch the JOKULHAUPS, play City, exile Spirit Guide to do Karn. If my opponent has artifact mana, it's now off. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and minus for Liquid Metal Coating. I don't know exactly what I'm playing against. Like, I've only seen Ancient Tomb and Gemstone Caverns as maybe some sort of initiative thing. I've seen a, like, Cascade deck that was playing Gemstone Caverns, but that wasn't playing Ancient Tomb. Wasteland. Sure, I am good with that. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter what it is, right? Like, the play that I'm going to make is the same every single time. Okay, cool. Okay, I don't know what my opponent is playing. My current guess is that they're somewhere in the, like, mono-white Eldrazi initiative ballpark. Accordingly, I think I'm going to cut Trinispheres for Fiery Confluence and cut one Chalice of the Void for Anger of the Gods and just become a little more removal dense. Go down another Chalice for a Great Furnace. And I'm going to play Sorcerous Spyglass for Wasteland over Chalice of the Void, I think. I think this leaves me stuck with one Chalice of the Void. But this is probably reasonable sideboarding. I'm going to keep this hand. I don't know exactly what we're playing against, but I have a pretty reasonable mix of things here. Okay. There's some spice happening over there. Can hit Planeswalkers? Can hit Planeswalkers, so I probably save that. It feels like Anger of the Gods is now a miss. I'm going to imprint that. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the Blood Sun. I'm going to get a redraw trying to find a Planeswalker of my own here. Negative. It's also not crazy to just play out Spirit Guide that turn. If this is just a Planeswalker Stompy deck over there, okay. There are initiative things going on. Are we playing against, like, I don't know. I don't know. This is also Vigilant. This is a pain. Cost me 6 mana to just blast that thing with Shatter Skull Smashing. Do I need to do that? Like, do I need to do that so that doesn't get forged? This is painful. I can't play this until I take the initiative from my opponent, which I can't really do right now. Alright. This costs the Spirit Guide as well. I get to take this body off the table before my opponent forges. If I find Karn, I can take the initiative that way. I get a couple turns before my opponent produces a body. Alright, sure. Oh wait, is this Minsk and Boo? Is that the whole plan here? Okay, Minsk and Boo is the plan. That explains the beacon specifically. My opponent's mana base is probably, like, exceptionally greedy. But they're going to get away with it for now because I have Blood Sun instead of Blood Moon. Karn almost does things that I want. Like, that was exactly the draw I wanted before Minsk and Boo happened. And unfortunately, I boarded in my Pithing Needle effect. So that's not great. And yep. I get to play Karn. I will minus Karn. I'm going to pick up Ensnaring Bridge under the hopes that my next draw, and I'm just totally blanking on the name of my Pithing Needle card right now. Sorcerous Spyglass, there we go. With the hopes that my next draw is Sorcerous Spyglass, so I can play Bridge, stop the attacks, play Spyglass, stop Hamster being thrown at my face. Blah. So much damage. Oh yeah, this is hyper greed. Okay. I don't know why you would play this deck, and I was supposed to tap that in response, but I, like, had F6'd already. I don't know why you would want to do this, but it is absolutely kicking my ass here. Okay. Sure. I think plussing is potentially worse than Chrome Mox. I'm going to go ahead and concede here. Like, if I play Bridge, my opponent can Teferi bounce it, or they can just throw Hamsters at my face, draw 7. I am not beating this. So, problem. Fiery Confluence doesn't get to kill Planeswalkers anymore. It used to be able to. That doesn't work now. I need to be able to wish for this. My deck is just not good against an opposing Planeswalker Stompy deck. Like, I'm fundamentally built to do this, and this is bad. Fury-based hands are going to be better. But I also can't necessarily drop these Ensnaring Bridges, because that's how I'm not going to lose to, like, Minsk and Boo immediately. I'm so dead. I'm just so very dead here. I'm gonna play all the Trinispheres in the main deck in the hopes that playing one of those on turn 1 specifically could steal a game. This is keepable. I think I Blood Sun on 1 here. I think the redraw is important, and I don't really know what my opponent's mana base looks like. Don't want to see that. That third Ancient Tomb is just like not going to be a playable card this game. Pithing Needle resolves. Unfortunately, probably going to name the Karn that I'm about to play. Yep. Ugh. Well, I have something to work towards. Ow. I'm still doing this to shut off artifact mana on my opponent's side of the field. My hope is that I'm able to make these 2 land drops before my opponent plays something that I can't beat. Ah. I see. That's actually relevant because this is an artifact land. Damn. Okay. My opponent has no colored mana currently. That's rough. They only have 1 basic in their deck. Oh man, this is brutal. Great Furnace and Chrome Mox are both being shut off by my opponent's Karn, which they Pithing Needled. Are about to forge up Undermountain Adventurer and get rid of my Karn. I believe play no card is correct here, as weird as that is. This game is quite comic. My Karn dies. Oh. Sure. I so wanted to just like punish that decision by drawing a basic land. Actually, I guess that doesn't matter, right? Like with Trap there, these aren't relevant land drops anymore. That is super unfortunate. My fun was denied. GG's. Okay, I'm fully unwilling to keep this hand. It can turn 1 Trinisphere, but then I can't do anything under my own Trinisphere. We can just find a more consistent hand than that. Yeah, this is totally reasonable. I will throw back one of the 2 Karns here. My opponent's mulliganing pretty aggressively. Ooh, it is a Chrome Mox Mirror. But my opponent is probably Stormin'. I'm losing my Chalice here. Actually, Karn might go. Karn might be worse for my opponent. Chalice comes down earlier, though. They might have to take Chalice and then try to... Ooh. That's real good. So I'm always going to get to Karn next turn, unless my opponent has another piece of discard. They're on 1 card, though. I think to minimize the chances of things going wrong, I go ahead and Chrome Mox here, imprinting my Shatter Skull Smashing. My opponent can make a 2/2, but my Karn should, in theory, obliterate them. Yeah, this is fine. I wonder if it was a mistake for my opponent to activate that Bobble. I don't think they need to activate this at sorcery speed for any reason. Ooh. I just play Blood Sun this turn and take a little bit of damage in the meantime. Is that fine? It opens up Karn being Thought Seized. But my opponent won't get to fetch something off Urza Saga or make another construct. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm into this here. Yeah, because it just destroys the Urza Saga. Ooh, a backup Karn. Yeah, that's very good. Oh, that's another thing that's just going to get shut off by Karn. This is very strong. My city looks even better. My opponent knows about this art of Karn. Go ahead and play this. Plus, start blowing up my opponent's stuff. And this 2/2 can continue to attack Karn forever, but like especially with a second Karn here. I think we're just done. Yeah. Alright, so my opponent is presumably playing Black Saga Storm, which is a mono-black Storm deck that has Urza Saga as the primary backup plan. That probably means that I want to board in my Trinisphere, Sorceress Spyglass for I think Wishclaw Talisman or Urza Saga is reasonable. And Fiery Confluence to sweep artifacts is probably good as well. My sideboarding's a little tough here. I might be cutting my namesake card despite the fact that it destroys all artifacts. because it's just so good for me to have the Trinispheres and Chalices in play. I think this is just full on, like, briefer time. Round 4, and I haven't gotten to scream my battle cry yet, though. It is disappointing to board those out. I've been sitting here thinking for a second whether or not I want to board Leyline of the Void as well, because, like, Burning Wish into Echo of Eons is sometimes a thing. I don't think I am going to do that. I don't think I get to throw back a hand that can turn 1 Chalice on 0 into turn 2 Karn. I just don't think that's possible. Now, the game where I'm on the draw is scary because my opponent just gets to do their thing first, so they can potentially just do storm stuff on turn 1, and I'm kind of soft to it. We're hoping that they lead on discard because they can't successfully punch a hole in this hand for more than 1 turn. Like, they can take my Chalice. So they are taking the Blood Sun, meaning they are probably on an Urza Saga plan. Okay. I am going to go ahead and play a Chrome Mox. I'll imprint my Fury. We'll drop a Mountain and then play a Chalice on 0. I have Karn and Ensnaring Bridge as things that I can do in the not too distant future. If I want to, yep, there's the Urza Saga. We had that read. Sure, we're gonna Pithing Needle Karn again. Yep, that's fine. The Karn is still insane here. Like, it's so insane that I'm just going to play it this turn, despite the fact that it is Pithing Needle. Okay. That was an early concession, but they would have conceded once they saw my Karn anyway, I think. GG's. Okay, I've got a weird one here for the last round. With any red card as the draw, I think this hand is a keep. I am going to keep it since I am on the draw. Oh? Yeah, just Chalice me on 1. Chalice me on 1. Fable of the Mirrorbreaker is not Chalice on 1. Slightly scarier than that. My opponent is probably the aggro version of the deck that I am playing. Thank you, deck. Perfect draw. I believe that my play here is Chrome Mox, imprint the Blood Sun, despite the fact that it is a redraw. I'm going to play a city, which now won't disappear. Or, fuck, will disappear. That was very dumb. I'm going to play a Chalice on 0. Yeah, that was supposed to just be a basic mountain. If I seem distracted, it's because I am. I have been hopping in and out to stain my deck, which is going fine, by the way. Alright, I eat 2 damage here. It's very scary if my opponent plays something like a Caves of Chaos Adventurer here. Yep, okay. This is probably my concession point, honestly. So, like, I can Karn, get Ensnaring Bridge, but then my opponent has Seasoned Dungeoneer and Fable of the Mirrorbreaker to copy it. Yeah, this is the tilting point where I don't think I can come back from this. My opponent forges, I take 7-ish damage. I take another little bit of damage the following turn. Crap happens, this copying starts happening. Yeah, I'm fully willing to concede here. Like, misplay aside, I think even playing optimally, I'm not gonna beat this combination. Yeah, for game 1, I really needed my opponent to have like the like hate bear Chalice side of their deck, so I had a little bit of time to set up. This is specifically a problem matchup that I talked about in the deck tech. Like, I can get some things that can blow up early creatures, but this is very specifically a matchup that I do not want to play while playing this deck. This hand doesn't do anything. Like, it can stop an early opposing creature, but this is a mulligan to 5. Yikes. Will I get a better hand by going to 4? Probably not. I think I'm gonna keep this. This always goes back. I think the Fury goes back. I think I take 1 redraw here. And we're starting this game slow. Cavern's fine. Talia would be surprisingly annoying, though. A War Boss. That's a war boss. Oh, we're going hard. They've given up a Fable. Oh god. They're doing a 4-mana play on turn 1, which is probably either Caves of Chaos Adventurer or Seasoned Dungeoneer. And this is too fast for me to probably beat. I'm on limited resources. I can get an Ensnaring Bridge to stop the worst of this, but I think the metaphorical damage is going to be done by this card alone. I'm going to get attacked for 5 or 6 this turn, and somewhere in the ballpark of 11 the following turn, depending on exactly how things go. So here's the attack for 5, but there's this trigger. Reveals Caves of Chaos Adventurer, meaning it is instead an attack for 6. So I'm at 14 already, which is effectively 9 because of Trap. Oh my god, why? So the other Seasoned Dungeoneer here may get to attack next turn, depending on what I draw. Okay, cool. So I can go ahead and play an Ensnaring Bridge, and then I can just exile my Simian Spirit Guide just for raw mana, so that Seasoned Dungeoneer can't attack me. My opponent gets to Throne of the Dead 3 this turn. They may just have some ETB creature like a Lauren that can deal with Ensnaring Bridge. We'll just exile that for mana. I think my opponent misplayed. I know they have Caves of Chaos Adventure. They're supposed to play that pre-combat and Throne of the Dead 3 to see if they get rid of Ensnaring Bridge, or otherwise get a Legion Warboss or Goblin Rabblemaster that can attack under it. It's a pretty bad misplay, but I don't know that it's going to matter, because like Throne of the Dead 3 is Throne of the Dead 3, right? Like it is just very good to look at 10 cards. Ooh, they are the Window version. Yeah, so they have missed a point of damage already for not doing the whole Goblin Rabblemaster thing. I need Chromox, maybe? Chromox here would be cool. Like, I just need to get... Oh god, lands. Lands are very bad. Drawing 2 lands like that might get me killed. So, I'm dead if my opponent has a Winota, in all likelihood. They just get to make a Goblin token. The Goblin token attacks. My opponent has missed 2 damage so far from not playing pre-combat Caves of Chaos Adventurer last turn. I am thankful for that. Drawing the Chandra that lets me discard my hand would also be pretty sick. Or Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb also acceptable. My opponent has now missed 3 points of damage, which is the difference between Trap killing me and not last turn. Or this turn, rather. Well, maybe next turn. Hard to say. Trigger. Alright, I eat some damage. I'm at 6. I have outs. Not a lot of them. I want to win this game so bad to, like, just show that, like, I found the line through my opponent's misplay. But another Ensnaring Bridge is not going to do it. I get trapped, and I am 1 card away from emptying my hand so that the Goblin tokens don't get to kill me. That is unfortunate. And we end up with a 2-3 finish. This has been a rough pair of days for me. Yesterday, I recorded with a Keranos deck list and never got to cast a Keranos. And today, I recorded with JOKULHAUPS and I never got to scream JOKULHAUPS with joy. That's just the way it goes sometimes, though. Like, we have 4 of this in the deck list. It's something that we are, like, designed to do. But my games today were incredibly fast in one way or another. Either I locked my opponent out quickly, or, you know, they combo killed me, or otherwise played a large spiraling aggro threat that took the game over. My thoughts on JOKULHAUPS haven't really changed since the last league. I think the pure existence of initiative has made it so that this is not a playable take on the Red Prison Moon Stompy archetype. Like, I love this. It's so fun to just, like, dominate a game with Planeswalkers and do this, like, slow, grindy death by 1,000 cuts after you do that. But as we saw today, games of Legacy are fast, and with the initiative giving a very common aggro plan that just fully dodges the Ensnaring Bridge lock, and with things like Boseiju becoming more common, I think the deck is going to sit on the shelf for a while. But I would love to know in the comments down below if you have any thoughts about the deck building here or how to adjust for, the existence of the initiative with this deck. All right. I hope you have a great rest of the day. If you're watching and you're not already subscribed, please consider doing that. It's one of the easiest ways to support my content for free. Have a great day. See ya.